just for fun. We're live? We're live. I think we're live. If you can hear us, talk to us. Send us a message in the chat. I have no idea if the chat's going to work, but anyway, we are here. It's Fred and Len and Steve and Becky. Welcome, everybody.
Hello.
As Len said a couple minutes ago, anything interesting going on today? Nothing big? Any Disney news? Let's check the Parks blog.
Just a Wednesday.
Just a typical Wednesday.
It's another Wednesday. I mean, to be fair, it's nothing that we didn't anticipate, right? We knew about most of this stuff for a few years. It was just hearing the details of it that started to get interesting. Also, it was interesting to see what they left out. Like they left out the prices.
So maybe let's go back to the beginning. So when did we first hear about this idea of Disney Genie? I think it was it end of last year? It was D23 a couple of years ago, right?
It was D23 in 2019, but we've known internally for way longer than that.
Yes, that
they were working on, because they told us, right? The people who were working on told us they were working on. Yeah. And that goes back many more years than that.
Touring Plans Live, not Genie. Well done.
Yeah.
Yes. Excellent. Okay, so what did we learn? So for those that haven't read it, I mean, we've been waiting for it all day and checking out the Parks blog. Yeah. What you see here is just a quick capture of what's on the Disney officials Parks blog right now. And they have, a typical press release that lays out some of the details that people can read. And there's even a video, like a 14-minute video of, a typical press release type video where they go through some of the details. But like you said, Len, there's a few things that they left out, like the cost.
Right. So there's a couple of things that they didn't mention. So here's how it's going to work, right? Think of attractions in the parks now divided into sort of 3 or 4 different tiers. They're the attractions that are only going to be standby, right? So like Country Bear Jamboree, Enchanted Tiki Room. You walk up, you get in a line, you wait for however long you're supposed to wait in line, you go in the ride. Then there's going to be boarding groups. So Rise of the Resistance. I heard Remy is going to be boarding group.
Right.
When it opens, right? So you make a park reservation, you make a reservation at 7 a.m. For that as well. And then if you get a boarding group, you get a boarding group number and they'll tell you the approximate time at which you come back. You'll have a return window, you go back and do it. The third thing is this Lightning Lane, Genie Plus thing. And it's basically Max Pass from Disneyland brought to Disneyland and Walt Disney World. So $15 per person per day in Walt Disney World, $20 per person per day. In Disneyland, you'll be able to make day of ride reservations one at a time for all but a handful of attractions in the park who have Fast Pass. So if you want to make a reservation for Big Thunder, you can do that. If you want to make a reservation for Splash Mountain, you can do that. The interesting thing that I've heard, though, and I don't know if this was in the video, tell me if I'm wrong, but you'll be able to make a reservation starting at 7 a.m. on the day of your visit.
Yeah, I didn't see where they mentioned that.
And so I don't think it was in the video. What else happens at exactly 7 o'clock?
Oh, nothing.
Everything.
Right. So this is the thing that I think hasn't been fully explained yet. If Rise of the Resistance fast boarding groups are available at 7 a.m. and they're gone in 10 seconds, and fast passes are available at desirable times at 7 a.m., do you have multiple people now having to do things exactly at 7 a.m.? That works. Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
The fourth way of doing things will be so my understanding is there's going to be a handful of attractions per park. 1 or 2 is what they said. Where you pay a separate fee you pay a separate fee, and they weren't specific on how much it was, but to buy a fast pass. So $20 per day will get you access to sort of like secondary attractions at the Magic Kingdom. But in order to ride like the top 1 or 2 rides, you have to pay another fee on top of that. They didn't say what it was. I've heard numbers that are roughly in line with what's at Disneyland Paris. So, $8 to $20. I've heard a little less, a little more, something like that. But imagine like Rise of the Resistance or Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. Like Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, you won't be able to get a free fast pass for. If you want to use a fast pass for that, it's going to cost you that extra X dollars per person per ride. The other interesting thing I heard was, and I don't think this was mentioned, but by limiting it to 1 or 2 per day.
That they did say. They said 1 or 2 per day.
They said 1 or 2 per day. So that's so you don't cannibalize VIP tours.
That's something that we knew that they were concerned about before was
right. Yeah, cannibalizing VIP tours.
Yeah,
because if they're getting $850 an hour for VIP tours, you don't want to be able to buy your way out of that for $500.
That's right. Yeah. Some people are asking about the difference between Disney Genie and Lightning Lane, but I think Lightning Lane is basically the replacement for the actual physical queue for what used to be FastPass, basically, and then Genie is going to be the application that gets you into those FastPass lanes.
Genie's the part of My Disney Experience that you use to book those things. Lightning Lane is the physical location that you will visit to wait. It's the FastPass line. Right?
Yeah, and then Genie Plus is how you buy the extra fast passes.
Right. That's how you actually the portal to get into it. So then the question is, what if you're a couple of seniors or you're internationals without a cell phone plan when you're at Disney? That's it. You're out.
So this wasn't in the video, but my understanding is there's no kiosk. There won't be kiosks or other things to do it. It's use your phone or nothing.
Because I'm always shocked at how many touring plans users still print out their plans. And they bring it in the parks. I mean, despite, we've obviously updated lines a few times, including most recently late last year, but people still like to just have that physical plan in their hand, to walk around. They don't trust, having.
Yeah. Or they don't want their phone on them. Right. So there was a lot of uproar when menus went to QR codes for pandemic reasons. And people just don't want to have their phone out burning through their battery all day either. Yeah,
and I know being from Canada, it's expensive if I want to use international data when I'm down there. So that means I have to rely on Wi-Fi, and we all know that Wi-Fi is not, it works on occasion, but it's not great for when you want to re-optimize a plan. So that's unfortunate. But yeah, I mean, lots of comments. I mean, the big thing is the price. What is this going to cost me? This is the thing I see is what does this mean? Because ticket prices are not going down. So what used to be included as part of the FastPass program is now going to be possibly significantly extra.
Yeah. So just getting the ability to make FastPass reservations for second and third tier attractions is now $15 per person per day, $20 in Disneyland. So that's family of 4. That's an extra $60 right there. And then FastPasses for the top tier attractions go for 10 to 20. That's another $40 to $80 for a family of 4. So now you're looking at what, $100 to $180 more for a family of 4 per day.
Yeah, and so now we're getting into the comparison with Universal Express. That's kind of in the realm there, but I feel like the Express program is a little bit more robust. I mean, for those that have used it, I mean it works really, really well. Now, granted, there are certain days where you're still having to wait significant amounts of time, but that's only because the park is jammed. It's not because the program is,
And it's also included if you stay at certain resorts. And
right. Disney couldn't do that.
Yeah. I don't see Disney doing that with this.
No.
So
the thing I was interested in seeing was Disney provided a little chart that said, here are the forecasted times. That we think they try. But the one thing I didn't see on that was any sort of scale that said this is how many minutes that is. Right. So you saw a graph with bars going up or down, but there was no number associated with each bar that told you is the highest bar 100 minutes and is the lowest bar 0 minutes, or is the highest bar 100 minutes and the lowest bar 95 minutes?
Right.
You need some context around how much time you're going to be saving there. But we'll see. I mean, they said it's coming out later this fall. We'll see. I suspect there's also, at least based on the development stuff that I know about, there are some limitations that haven't been explained yet. So we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, including the 10 attractions.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah.
And yes, there's no official start date yet. They just said kind of fall. We thought maybe it might be tied to the 1st of October, but that doesn't seem to be the case.
My understanding is that the paid FastPass stuff is going to come before the Genie stuff, and that's they're targeting middle October. And then I don't know when Genie is supposed to launch.
So Chrissy asked a question in chat. So how's this? All right, here's a question. Can you please explain how standard guests who just want to wait in line, not pay for the attraction? Am I going to wait longer for things like Seven Dwarfs Mine Train? Or can you even ride Seven Dwarfs Mine Train without paying extra?
Yeah, you should be able to ride Seven Dwarfs Mine Train without paying extra for it. The thing that we didn't see is they didn't announce standby queues, standby pass like they have in Paris.
Right.
So my understanding is that was pulled sort of like in the last couple of weeks, that it was apparently too complicated.
And you talked about this in your blog post from a couple of weeks ago. About that. So for people that haven't read that, Len has a great post kind of outlining all the expectations of these new queues that were possible. So it'd be interesting to compare that to what we actually heard today.
And that's good, because the stuff that I heard from people who were involved in the development of this and who were testing it was the big thing that they were always concerned about was like, how are we going to communicate this to guests? And I think, one way that you can tell that they're concerned about it is they put out a 15-minute video explaining what Genie. When was the last time they put out a 15-minute video?
That's long.
on how to use the website, right? That's a lot. So that's good though. I mean, I think there's I think there's gonna be a lot of questions. A lot of the details on how exactly it's going to work remain to be seen. I mean, obviously, I think we're all interested in seeing how the itinerary planning part compares with the touring plan. I think we're all super excited to compete on that particular aspect.
Oh yeah.
But there's a lot that we don't know about how it's all supposed to work. I think, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but as going through the video, they stopped referring to things like optimal itineraries or minimize your wait in line. So I don't think that's either their lawyers don't want them to say that,
I noticed they specifically used maximize. We're going to maximize your time. I thought maximize my time. No, I want to minimize my time.
No, that's the opposite of what
maximize my time.
Maximize the amount of dollars you have in your pocket.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, go ahead. That's a much easier problem to solve. But...
Let me go back and redo the script for you real quick. Yeah.
It'll be interesting. Fred and I were talking about this before we went live, because all of the initial commentary that's rolling in here and elsewhere is not about the optimal touring part of Genie. It's all about paid fast pass.
Paid fast pass,
intrigued about why Disney crafted their message that way and snuck the touring plan in there too. Very few details, obviously, not the touring plan. Along with Genie Plus and Lightning, and now that's, if you Google Disney Genie, I did it right before we were on here, and all people are talking about is how it's paid fast pass.
Paid fast pass,
about touring your day.
And that's a legitimate question, right? Why do we have to pay for something that was free last year?
Yeah. And in chat, somebody was asking about the $15. We expect that's going to be per person per day. They could maybe have some package pricing on that, but if it's anything like Disneyland, it's per person per day.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we should have had Guy on here to talk about Max Pass, because he's used it more than anybody else.
Yep.
Yeah, Len, were you surprised here at Disneyland? That kind of...
Yeah, I was surprised.
I wasn't expecting.
I knew Disneyland was in there. The thing that I had heard, so the video wasn't clear on this too. I had heard that the way you selected your return window, or the way a return window was going to be offered to you, was going to be different in World versus Land. I heard in World you were supposed to be able to pick your return time window, but in watching the video, I think you just get the next one.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, that's the way I took it.
Okay.
Becky, is that the way you took it for
If you
World?
only get one fast pass at a time, you really want to get the next window so you can get the next fast pass.
Well, right.
Yeah.
So you can move on, but...
And I wonder if that was a way to simplify the rule too. Like, but what if your fast pass now is, let's say the one ride you want to get on is, I don't know, Space Mountain, and the next thing is 4 or 6 hours from now. You can't get another one for 4 to 6 hours.
Unless they have like a 2-hour rule they had with the paper one that you could get one after 2 hours.
Right.
It didn't say.
So,
Didn't say. That's right.
I think there will be a 2-hour rule, but I'm not certain.
That would be great for optimal touring, because it goes back to like FastPass Legacy, which was
we already have the rules built into the software.
Yeah,
let's do that.
We know how that works, and you can really game it, which is nice.
Yeah,
there's a strategy there. I mean, our users have been doing it for years. you can, and that's the exciting part for me. There's a couple things for me. First of all, is like how are we going to game this to to maximize to minimize our wait in line, and the second thing is this is for the first time ever Disney is going to publish, at least to subscribers to their Genie, forecasted wait times. They've never done that.
I want to see how they do it though. If it's just that graph with no numbers associated with it, that's going to be less.
After dinner is our lowest time. Thank you. That was helpful information.
Right before the park closes, it's going to be super fabulous.
Well, it's got to be more than that, because that's not particularly useful. I mean, unless they're taking a gamble that people don't really need to know that, they just want to have an idea. But I want to know the forecast, obviously.
I want to see if the forecasts use estimates for your actual wait, or if they map to the posted wait times. Because we know this, right? If they tell you that, your forecasted wait for Space Mountain is 25 minutes and you walk up to it and the posted wait time is 90, right? Even if both of those numbers are correct, the posted wait time is 90, but you're really going to wait 25. How is Disney going to communicate that to people?
That's tough. That's going to be really tough.
It's a very
doesn't Disney
question.
think their posted wait times are accurate?
Let's see what Becky.
Oh, no, that's okay. I was going to say, it's just a very interesting question, because we know they're already gaming posted wait times. There's reasons they're gaming posted wait times for crowd control. Now there's further incentive, if I'm like a skeptical consumer, right, for Disney to game posted wait times even more, so that I give them more money so I can skip that large posted wait. I think my favorite metaphor for this is like, I have a refrigerator. I don't let the refrigerator manufacturer do my recurring maintenance on it, because they're incented to tell me to buy a new refrigerator or buy new parts. Similar for Disney, like they're incented to tell me things that are going to make me give them more money. So do I trust that? Do I trust a third party? Do I trust no one and just go on my own? It'll be interesting.
I can't wait to see what the legal disclaimer is every time you buy a fast pass. Because it's going to be something like, look, we're telling you that the current wait is 90 minutes. We could be lying to you, check this box to acknowledge that we could be lying to you and you're okay with it. Like, how is that going to look? Because what if the posted wait is 90 and the actual wait is, 25? Anyway, a lot of stuff that we haven't seen yet that they haven't figured out. But
what if you pay your $15 per person per day, and you're paying it at noon because you got to the park at noon, and you log into the app and like there's one fast pass window open at one ride for the rest of the day. Like, it's all those weird.
Yeah.
So guys in our chat. So our question for you earlier were, with Max Pass, is there like the 2-hour rule that you can get another fast pass after 2 hours, or do you have to use that one fast pass before you can get another one in Disneyland? So hopefully we'll see a reply from Guy in the chat on that.
And I see Brad's in the chat too. He's interested in how it's going to work.
Is anyone monitoring social media to see how this is going over on the Twitters?
Not well. I know we're all shocked. It's not great. Yeah. There are a lot of upset people. Imagine that. The last big, like, we're going to make you pay for this, and we haven't previously, was parking, right? On-site parking.
Yeah.
I feel like
that's a good analogy.
That was an uproar. I can't imagine. This is worse than that. So, but it could have been a lot worse. So I'll give Disney.
It could have been worse. They could have. Yeah, they could have done no free. Everything costs money now, but they could have. Had they done the standby pass thing, that would have been super complicated. And there's no. I thought there was going to be a certain number of like very expensive go to the front of the line passes now, and that wasn't part of the discussion.
It wasn't part of the discussion, but they didn't say anything of what the Genie Plus paid fast passes would be. So
this is another question that I had that. So obviously we knew that the media event was coming, and seeded questions, like one question with like 20 different people who are on these calls. The question that wasn't able to get answered was how much of a ride's capacity are they going to dedicate now to to Lightning Lane. Because let's say hypothetically, right? And I'm just making up a number here. Let's say they decide to sell 7 Dwarfs Mine Train fast passes for $1 each, right? They will sell out of them, right? However many they put on the market, people will buy, because $1 is not very much money, right? And it gets you into a shorter line. If they do 75 or 80% of the ride's capacity for Lightning Lane, like it was for FastPass, now you've got the exact same problem you had before with FastPass, where it drove up the standby line, but Disney hasn't made much money on it, $1 per person, right? So that's one of the big questions that I still have. Like how much is there a maximum amount of ride capacity that they're willing to sell for these things?
Yeah,
especially for Rise of the Resistance, right? That's going to be important.
Right. And even for back to the 7 Dwarfs Mine Train question earlier, right? So we're assuming that one's only going to be paid by itself. It's not going to come in the Genie Plus bundle where you can make unlimited ones per day. So maybe that ends up being better for standby people than in the old days of FastPass.
Right.
Plus.
If they only leave it to 10 or 20% of the capacity, the standby gets a lot more of the capacity. You have to stand in line, but maybe you won't have to stand more than an hour. Where with FastPass Plus, if you're in the standby line, you're waiting 2 hours.
Yeah.
So it could be better, theoretically, if they do want to. So really, we need to hope that the paid fast passes are ridiculously expensive and nobody buys them.
That's better for standby.
Yeah.
And that could happen. I mean, that's a big question too. Is just the level of adoption. And we know they put a lot of work into optimizing their prices. With their behavioral economists and whatnot. So it's going to be right on that edge, right? It's going to be somewhere where they think that they can handle it and still make money off of it. That enough people are going to do it. But there's lots of examples where people it's such a change that people might just be so resistant they won't do it.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm blanking. What was I going to say? The other thing we didn't hear is whether there would be dynamic pricing during the day. Like, is a 7 Dwarfs Mine Train going to come more at noon than it is at 7 a.m. or whatever?
Ooh. With them not letting you do it in advance makes me feel like it would be dynamically priced.
That's what I think. And it's going to cost more on New Year's Eve than it would be on a random Tuesday in September. Again, so there's a call for travel agents on Friday. We're a travel agency. I'll ask some of these questions on Friday. My sense is my microphone's going to be muted. A particular call, but
okay, we got an answer from Guy. So the rule with Max Pass is a 90-minute.
90-minute. Okay.
Next Fast Pass after 90 minutes.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. All right.
In the chat, Chrissy's also prompting us to talk about how we might in-park test this to benefit everyone once it goes live.
We definitely will.
The obvious thing for us is we're gonna create a touring plan. We're gonna using our software. We're gonna create a touring plan using Genie. We're going to compare them side by side and see which one results in less waiting in line. To do that, we need to know a little bit more about how Genie works. I think I told you guys this story, but I'll say this now on YouTube, and then I got to drop because I have interviews with media coming up.
Who wants to talk to you?
Yes, I know. Some of it's off the record, so I can't say. So when Disney was playtesting Genie, some of the people that it picked randomly to playtest Genie were touring planes users. And one of the things that they told the users up front was, we know that people give information like this to certain podcasts. Please don't tell those podcasts about this right now. It was nice to be thought of. That's what I'm thinking. Nice. Yeah. Anyway,
what is it? Imitation is the most sincere.
Plagiarism is the sincerest form of flattery. All right,
Oscar Wilde. I think that applies in this case for sure. Yeah, I mean, we've been doing touring plans for like 20 years or something like this now, and
yeah, we're coming up on 29 million optimized touring plans.
And although we've tweaked it over the years, it's very similar to that initial design that we had. I mean, we've tweaked our models and whatnot, but in terms of the optimal touring plan, it's basically the same thing as it was when Len first created it.
Yeah.
Which is pretty amazing.
So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I mean, we've talked about this.
If they're not doing the standby pass, that was probably going to be the biggest change that we would have.
The most complicated thing. Yeah, that would be the complicated thing for us. Yeah, this is relatively straightforward for us. Nothing that we have to do any substantial programming on. So
yeah,
not worried about that.
But one thing I'm hearing a lot too is just the complexity of all this. That are people going to understand this? And the poor cast members who have to explain, because you see this a lot. Like when they came up with FastPass Plus. People that had been maybe 3 or 4 years prior would come and show up and say, okay, where do I put my ticket in to get my fast pass? And it doesn't work that way anymore.
Right.
This is a whole nother level.
Yeah. I think people are
the people that wanted to pay for fast pass. So now they've got the chance to.
Well, they have 1 or 2 chances. I think the big question that we're going to get is, and we'll probably get this a lot, for a given attraction, and a given wait time, the questions we're going to get is, number one, is Jungle Cruise really a 75-minute wait at 10 a.m. on a Tuesday in September? And if the answer is no, then what is that expected wait going to be? Because people are going to try and rationalize that price against what we think the expected wait is. Yeah. So that's going to be. So we'll probably need to give them some advice and say, what do you value your time at per hour in the park? If you think that, you're willing to skip half an hour of waiting in line for $60, so if you're willing to pay $120 an hour to not wait in line, then here are your best bets.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
So we'll see on that.
Yeah. So for those,
we have some work to do around projecting out when FastPass distribution is going to be. Yep. So we know which order which to get them. Yeah. But we've done this before for Disneyland, so not a big deal.
Yeah, it really isn't. We're basically prepared for this. We've known this has been coming for a while, so now it's just to kind of implement what we've done behind the scenes, and then we'll be ready. So for those of you that are subscribers to Touring Plans, thanks for the support, obviously, and we look forward to actually testing our touring plans against whatever Genie comes up with. It'll be fun.
Yeah, we'll see. It'll be fun.
Cool. Thanks very much, guys. Have a good day.
Thanks, guys.
We'll see you next time. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.